Okay, another bunny, another issue. Well, I mean, it's not that bad, but we'll talk about it later. Is this special edition bunny girl worth it, and how does she compare to other Snail Shell figures? Let's find out. So I wasn't actually going to review her, but then... I kind of felt like I had to. My Sunkissed Aileen came in her own thick special cardboard box with branding and everything, straight from China. And there's some warnings and stuff on it. 18 plus, of course. Inside there was some protective wrap, and her box came in good condition, and of course I ordered the feet. That was kind of one condition that I had with this figure. If I ordered her, I had to have her feet too. It's not because I'm into feet or anything like that, it's just because you gotta have the whole set, right? She can't be left out. Anyway, seems they're opting for no window boxes lately, and by lately I mean her and Lustier. She comes in a single tray and is literally exactly the same as Aileen, which makes sense I guess. Out of the box, she's looking a little funny, her eyes are a little bit off, but that's fine, easily fixed with this eye stick thing that she has, which can be used to move her eyes. In case you don't know, most of Snail Shell figures have articulated eyes. Sometimes it is a bit hard to get their eyes lined up exactly right when they have eye articulation, but it's not too bad most of the time. There we go, looking much better. And overall the figure looks good. She is of course in a black bunny outfit, which is nice and glossy. She also has a white collar, cuff, and bunny tail with some slight gold detailing on her thigh straps. And the soles on her heels are red. This time there is no hair scuff thankfully, which in hindsight I probably should have seen with Aileen because, you know, there's a whole window on her box. But oh well. Her hair color is quite similar to Lustier, but instead of a purple tint, there's kind of an orange tint instead. It has the same kind of shine or sparkle too, which I don't know whether the camera's picking up. Her eyes are a reddish orange, which is a little bit different from Eileen's more purplish pink eyes. She has a total of 2 faceplates, one regular teethy grin, and one cheeky winking blep. Both of these have eye articulation of course. Head articulation is pretty standard. Her head turns, she nods, and she tilts. Her ponytail can move around as well. Around her tan body there's some orangish shading, mainly around her thigh straps, which probably isn't really showing up on camera, so you just have to take my word for it. In fact, there are 2 bunny tails, one of these has a hole for the stand and one doesn't have a hole. Speaking of stand, here are her stand parts. There's a Snail Shell logo on the base and the option of either using a claw or a plug as well. Of course there are spare wrist joints. Her arms move well, up and down and all around. She has a bicep swivel and double jointed elbows. Her cuffs can get in the way of wrist movement a bit, so be sure to push them down further or up further if you want more range. I'd say her wrists are a little bit better than Eileen's, which were super tough to change. Sunkissed Eileen's hands can be swapped rather easily enough, and she seems to use the same softer plastic as Lustier. For hands, she comes with peace hands, open gesture hands, other kind of gesture or gun holdy hands. If you have both bunnies or spare guns lying around, you can do this. She has another pair of holdy hands which you can use for her phone. And lastly she has pointy hands. All the hands look pretty good, besides maybe her left pointy hand. It doesn't seem they made the hole deep enough, or it's at an off angle or something. You can see that when it's pushed all the way in, the wrist joint kind of actually pushes against the plastic and the stress is visible from the outside. Little bit strange, but all the other hands are fine. Here's a quick look at the gun, and her phone. Seems they just use the same print as Eileen's. If you take a closer look as well, her phone is actually just her gun folded up, or vice versa. Torso articulation is fine. Forward and backward bend are better than her tilts and rotation. There is no separate hip movement, as that would probably break up the mold too much. Her legs do split sideways. But here comes the other issue. She's meant to have pull-down leg joints, giving more articulation. As you can see, regular Aileen is able to kick up all the way vertically. My Sunkissed girl unfortunately is unable to do this. Her leg joints are super stiff even after heating her up to an almost uncomfortable degree and wiggling around the joint for a good 5 to 10 minutes off camera. Her right leg can pull out just a tad, but the left one doesn't want to budge at all. In messing around with her leg joints, her legs seem to pull off a little bit easier than Aileen's, and this was also before the heating up. For comparison, here you can see that Aileen's ball joints are pulled out all the way. Here they are pushed in or in a normal position. Sunkissed Aileen's pretty much don't move at all. They kind of look like they're pulled out. Maybe they're shorter or something, I don't know. They also don't really look as clean as Aileen's. Maybe that's another reason. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but you know, if the instructions say that she has a pull down leg, I kind of expect a pull down leg. And yes, for once I actually read the instructions. Crazy, right? I guess she just needs to do more yoga. Anyway, she can kick up about this high, and kicks back a little bit. She does have a thigh rotation, which is hidden by her thigh straps. She has double jointed knees, and her ankles move like this. Now that we've gotten to the ankles, here's a quick look at the feet. She has 4 pairs of alternate bare feet. Firstly, her regular standing pair for when you don't want to pose her with heels, a forward pointed toesy pair, a pair of toes pulled back-ish kind of feet, I still don't really know how to describe these ones, and finally a pair of splayed toesy spread feet, I guess. I'm no expert, but I think all of these look pretty good. They look like feet should, I guess. Delicious. Anyway, for a 1/12 figure, she's about 15.5 centimeters tall, or 17 centimeters to the top of her taller ear if you need to allow for clearance or anything like that. In inches, that's about 6 1/4 inch, or 7 inches if you count the ears. This makes her about 186 centimeters, or 6'1" in full scale. Deduct about 1 centimeter for heel height if she's barefoot, and she'd be about 174 centimeters, or 5'9". I'm gonna be honest, I didn't actually measure her again, I just went with Aileen's measurements. Anyway, here she is next to Snail Shell Girls, Kang Toys Lung, Husky Fiona, Model Kit Girls, Chiaki, Frieren, Nendroids, Nikke Stands, and Gacha Mem. Of course, you can get creative and do some part swaps, which is pretty cool. A simple swap with just her front hair looks pretty good, I reckon. And you can swap the whole thing too. Despite pretty much just being a recolored Aileen, I really do enjoy having both of them to pose together or swap parts with. That being said, she's a great standalone figure too. Quality control could be a little bit better of course, but it's not terrible. For more Snail Shell and figure stuff, check out these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.